you have a device that if I put in my home, instead of throwing away my leftovers, I take all that waste,
Exactly.
throw it into the device.
Yes.
It's going to pump out some gas.
Exactly. So we like, okay, this is a problem because you're throwing all of this waste, but you're essentially creating like a breeding ground. What people don't understand is when it comes to trying to acquire grants, you also need to show that you've also sacrificed something as well.
How
People-
did you do that?
Okay.
Welcome to this edition of Mindset Profits, and thank you to the SAP Foundation for sponsoring this video. I am with one of the SAP funded entrepreneurs, Iviwe. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I was asking about entrepreneurs that they enjoy working with, that they believe in. Your name popped up top of the list.
I'm not sure why they chose me.
Apparently, you are an innovator.
Yeah, in a sense, I'm in the name innovator. There's a number of heads actually. Yeah, but yeah, in a sense.
So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We talk a lot sometimes to entrepreneurs that are doing really well, that are experienced, that have gone far in their journey. But today we're talking to an innovator who's starting. And some of the questions that I'll be asking him, try and put yourself in his shoes, see how you would answer them. And if you're starting a business, ask yourself, have you asked yourself these questions, right? And I think the first question, if you will get to what your innovation is, because quite exciting stuff that you're working on. First question is, do you believe that this innovation will make you a millionaire?
So it's a bit tricky because I don't think I aspire to be a millionaire. But if you truly reflect and
Yeah.
you think of the whole concept of money, I mean, you always land, differently. If money can mess you up, you're really a messed up individual. So I feel like it shouldn't be the goal per se.
Mhm.
But what we tried more or less like with the company to structure it, the type of impact we want to deliver to our communities. So that's more what we're focusing on. I mean, if it gives us millions, then we're happy. We're happy, but we just want to focus on changing lives.
It's a good rehearsed, polished answer. Don't be scared to say, I'm in business. I'm in business. Look, it would be nice. Everyone who starts a business does want to make money at the end
of the day.
Impact everyone. There are many that want the impact, but almost all of us, we want to make the money.
But if you think of it like this, if you know the question, if you die,
Yeah.
how do you want to be remembered? So I think that's more how we try and link it to. I don't want to be known as a guy who had money. I mean, there's a lot of people.
That would be nice. But
It's nice.
What
Yes,
would you want to
exactly.
be known?
It's nice.
What would you want to be remembered by?
Like we really impacted people's lives. Like if I can point to a couple of people, like, hey, you see so and so, he's that guy now because we essentially did something that helped more improve his livelihood.
You're coming from a good place. I like that. By the way. I like that. You genuinely want to help people. And the framing of the question though is intentional because I want anyone who's starting to ask themselves.
Yeah.
There is the making money part which you focused on, but there is the second bit. Do you believe that the business that you're starting has the potential to take you there? Because that's a really powerful question itself. Because sometimes we start a business and we don't think too far to say, how far can this take me financially?
Yeah, no, definitely true. Because I feel like that's also something we weren't really thinking about when we started. We just saw issues or problems that we wanted to solve, and we're like, these also affect people that we know. Let's essentially develop something to more or less assist without thinking like, okay, are people even gonna want to buy, what we're trying to sell to them, like things like that? Is it also scalable? It's not just for a number of people, but can we take it cross border, essentially.
Yeah.
So those are things we really had to sit down, and think about as we developing our product as well. So your question to that, I'd say it's a tick, tick, tick.
I love that you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, what I will ask, and I'm sure anyone who listens to you now is thinking, "Hey, man, this is a good guy." What does Iviwe do?
Do.
What is this innovation that everyone is
What
so
that we're
excited
talking
about?
about. Oh, okay. Um, so let me introduce the company first. So
Yeah.
the company name is called Akea Eco. So we're trying to address problems more or less around waste management, energy poverty, as well as sustainable ways of producing food. So what we've done more or less is come up with flagship products, a biodigester and hydroponic system. So the biodigester, you can think of it as a housing unit for like the breakdown of organic matter. It can be food, from your own kitchen waste, manure,
Okay.
cow dung, and all of that. You more or less put it in that system. Microorganisms break it down. As they breaking it down, they essentially producing what we call a biogas. The biogas can be used more or less for cooking. You're replacing your LPG gas,
Mhm.
and essentially using your own waste to generate your own cooking gas, you see. But if you also want to take it a bit further, like if you don't have lights or anything like that, it also comes with a biogas lamp that you can more or less substitute, like
Some of the lights in the
the
house.
lights in the house. Yes,
Let me see if I get you. You have a device that if I put in my home, instead of throwing away my leftovers, I take all that waste, throw
exactly.
it into the device. It's
Yes,
going to pump out some gas
exactly.
that I can use for my heater, for example,
If you want to put it, yeah, you can also
during
use it
winter.
for that.
I
Exactly,
can use the gas to cook.
exactly.
What else does it produce?
So the other thing is that as much as it's producing gas, you also get like a nutrient-rich liquid, and that you can more or less use as a fertilizer. So this is actually quite big when it comes to people in the, I want to say, small scale farming,
Okay.
or you just have a home, a couple of cows, chickens, pigs, anything, or you plant a couple of veggies there. So you use the waste more or less from your animals, and whatever liquid comes up after it has been broken down, you water that.
What's the problem you are trying to solve? I get the energy
Yeah.
needs and the
Mm.
cost of energy out there, but what's the problem you are trying to solve? I know it's bigger than
Yeah. So
just
so
giving
s-
people gas.
so it's the integrated ones. We want people to be self-sustainable, decentralized, and not as dependent on, well, issues around government. I mean, if you look how energy waste management is handled.
There's a lot of waste
Yes,
everywhere. Yeah.
there's a lot of issues. Take the community in Pumla Mkashi, where we shot a promotional video for our products. Actually, there's no, like effective municipal waste collection management system in place there. So people just throw things. So we like, okay, this is a problem because you're throwing all of this waste, but it's you essentially creating like a breeding ground for the different types of microbes to grow, and that
And rats
leads,
and stuff.
you see, and that leads to various diseases or anything of the sort. So take that, turn it into something that's more valuable, and that's also going to benefit you, because by you generating your own biogas and liquid fertilizer, essentially, you're eliminating the need to constantly buy that LPG gas, and you planting your crops without needing to buy fertilizer.
Okay. How much waste goes into this? Because
The
I'm trying to
system.
think if I'm just my home,
Yeah,
maybe we don't have enough leftovers to fill
yeah,
up the
to
whole system so that we get gas out of it.
yeah,
How much waste goes in?
yeah.
One
So
household is enough?
so I like that you brought up that question actually, because I feel like it's always something that always comes up. So if you're a person who's I mean, you just by yourself in your household, it might not be a system for you. But if you
Ah,
have three individuals going up, then the system might definitely be for you. Because with our smallest unit, it can more or less take up anywhere from about 800 grams food waste daily to about 1.5. So that's more or less the range,
Mm.
1.5 kgs.
Okay.
I mean, yes. So that's more or less the amount, like people three going up more or less produce on an everyday basis.
Do you see a situation where two things? Someone someone in the urban areas realizes I can actually go to waste dumps, collect
Yes,
collect some
we
and
were
come at home and fill up the system to produce
we were
the gas.
actually hoping for like something like that. Take this.
Or you hope people will do that.
No, no, no. Okay, yeah, but it's something we hope comes through. But I've actually seen it. So there was one system we more or less bought, which actually got us the grant with the SAP Foundation.
Yeah.
We left it where we shot that promotional video. So
Uh,
there was a lady. She was actually my aunt. She stays by herself, right? So she ended up collecting, like from her neighbors to sustain the system itself. So we thought that was actually quite smart. It'd be nice to see a revolution like that because you essentially cleaning up the community, man.
it does. It does. And I'm actually thinking, what about rural communities? Is it a system that can work there?
You see, with rural communities, it's perfect. I'm thinking from where I come from. I come from the Eastern Cape, small town, boom boom. Phansi kwentaba engumnyama,
Hey, wena.
it's a village. So it's almost like every household there has more or less like cattle, sheep, goats, all of that's potential waste that can be pumped into the systems. And if you think about it, they also don't know how to manage it. Because I'm thinking of like a room, yeah, like that cow dung is taking over, like it's even coming
Mm,
as much as we have cows, but it's the cows are producing it so much, it's even coming next to the houses and stuff like that.
also, the cow dung also goes into the system.
Yes, the cow dung is actually very perfect for the system.
Why?
Yeah.
Produce more gas.
So the microorganisms that we need that are specialized in producing this gas are actually housed within the cow's stomach, you see. So to even activate the system itself, you'd more or less need cow dung. I mean, that's the cheapest way.
Mm.
Or you can isolate those microorganisms and feed them into a system. But you can also just buy them nowadays.
When you speak about that, I'm thinking of a question and I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah.
find a cleaner way of asking it.
Asking it.
What about people who use septic tanks to
Septic tanks.
human waste?
So that's also something you can also rely on.
Uh-huh.
You see, connect the system directly to your toilet as you're flushing. It feeds directly into the system. But we didn't want to go through that route because there's question about, like enteric microorganisms. If you think E. coli, cholera, all of those are more or less housed in your system. But
Okay.
now, if you're saying, yeah, you can.
Connect the system and
Yes,
collect.
and also fertilize your plants more or less. You're introducing those microorganisms into your food supply. So we would
Also,
want to distance ourselves,
so
but you
you stay
can.
away from
Yes,
human
yes, yes.
waste,
Yeah,
do all the other
yeah.
animals.
If you're just interested in the system, you can. But if you also want to grow food, with the organic fertilizer that comes from it, I'd be very cautious. I'd caution you
That's a powerful disclaimer, man. I think the last question I'll ask you about the system itself is how did you come up with it?
with it. Sure. Life challenges you in many ways, right? So I used to work for this company back in Sasolburg. Um, I mean, I was still interning, so it was very difficult then. Money was tight. I come back one day, it was peak load shedding. I'm hungry. I don't have anything at home. I'm thinking, sure, how? Because I only have stuff that I can actually cook with, but I just don't have the means now to cook or just to go to the shop, grab something, yeah, and just to. So I was like, yo, let me start seeing like what's out there. Something because this thing of relying on electricity is annoying because it's constantly just not there. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see. Yeah, so then I started researching. Okay, solar was quite booming at the time, but I was just like, you look at the prices.
it's
Yeah, no,
crazy.
no, it's not gonna work for me. It's not gonna work for me. Yeah, so then I started going deeper and deeper, and I actually found these biodigesters. Oh, they're actually an alternative, but I think I was sort of drawn to it because it's also related to what I studied, you know. Then if I
Which is?
so I have a master's in microbiology and biotechnology. See, so how
Mm.
can we essentially use microorganisms to better our lives? It's like, okay, so this is interesting. Let me explore it. But you find that in South Africa, the focus is more on a large scale plants. You wanna power a village, like a farm, a huge farm, those things. But the one's like, no, man, I don't need something like that.
I want to
Isn't
power
there a way?
homes.
Yeah, just to meet that need, cooking, lighting, heating as smaller unit. So that's more or less how the
Do you
idea
see
came
it
about.
evolving to fitting into a geyser system? Because
Geyser system.
the cooking and the geyser are like the
Yeah, no,
main
yes, no,
consumers of
definitely.
energy.
Water heating is an important aspect that we want to look at as well. But it's like you need a water heater to connect the gas to, but the water heater is quite pricier. But for now, we just want to see,
So it's part of your future plans, not
yes,
something that you've
yes,
done
future
now.
plans. Yes.
If I were to ask a question, and like I promised entrepreneurs, I'll ask questions to reflect on.
But
What?
but wait,
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to, because we only mentioned the one product. There's another one.
Oh, is it? Talk to us.
So it's a vertical hydroponic system,
Huh.
right? So a vertical hydroponic system, you can think of a platform that allows you to plant or grow plants without needing soil, you see. So it's a system that simply circulates, like a nutrient solution that you can cook up, and plants just simply grow. I mean, you
Also,
can think about it like that.
people without a lot of land can
Exactly.
use that system to grow like their veggies
They're veggies.
at
If
home.
if you have an apartment, you like growing because we African men, like we grew up planting things with our hands. But if you think about the urban migration nowadays, like a lot of people are flooding into the urban spaces. So it's also like for those who want to still be connected to that, to still do that, how then do they do it in spaces that are quite limiting?
Mm.
So this system more or less also fools that. But since now we have this biodigester that produces this liquid rich nutrient solution, you can essentially feed that into your hydroponic system. And now, which is exactly what we're interested in, you
Mm.
closing that loop.
Mm.
Waste,
So you're dealing with the food waste that everyone
exactly.
is struggling to deal with. It
Yes,
comes in to produce gas, which someone is going to use in their home, and this liquid that is fertilizer that goes to now this hydroponic
hydroponic
system
system.
that's
Yes,
going to help me grow my tomatoes.
yes, exactly.
But I listen to you, as exciting as all of this sounds, I think
Yeah.
of all the unemployment that it's going to create.
What do you mean? It's going to create
Must losing,
employment.
not needing employees.
It's going to create employment because if you think about it, I mean, we are people. I feel like there's certain jobs people shouldn't be doing. But we just need to place ourselves in a way that we get the skills that are required to sort of manage the systems because we're building these systems, but someone's gonna have to maintain them, you see. So
Oh,
that's the
you
kind of
see.
thinking we more or less going with
I think what I love is the potential savings that come to a
the
household.
household.
Energy savings, the ability to grow your own food because food inflation is quite
Quite
high.
high. Yeah, exactly. And also the ease, man, like handling a hydroponic system. So you simply feed that system with your nutrient solution. You can just leave it for a month. Like you don't need to be constantly
Mm.
looking over it. It does its own thing.
All
And a
right.
month is more or less enough to grow the food that you more or less require.
Okay, cool. How far are you from launching and selling. I know you were at prototype stage when the SAP Foundation funded
Yeah,
you.
founders. Yes, yes, yes. So through the grant that we received from them and another party, the Technology Innovation Agency, we actually have systems that we want to pilot now.
Mhm.
So we've tested them ourselves. They work.
That's good.
So
That's good.
they work. They work. Let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
But now we just want to see how people can handle them. Are they more or less able to work with these systems? Because biodigesters, hydroponic systems can be too technical, you know. I mean, that's essentially why the current biodigesters that are more or less used in South Africa have been failing. People just don't know how to maintain them. But we've built our systems with such ease, like umagogo, you know, or umdana who's like
Any
seven,
granny anyway
yeah,
can use it.
can more or less use it. But that's our thinking. So now we want to validate that,
Mhm.
like, definitely our
Who
hypo.
told you to approach things? It's such a brilliant approach, but I'm curious
Right.
who's behind.
So there was a nice program at UNISA
Yeah.
that I got engaged in. So they take you through what they call product design thinking, you know,
Mm,
and you more or less develop your product with your potential customer. You don't develop a product in isolation.
yeah.
You know, you need to engage them. So that's more or
Get
less
the
the plan.
feedback, see what to
Yes,
improve.
implement. So that's exactly what we're planning to do now. Give people the systems mahala for free. So if there's people out there who want systems,
Are you sure you want to say that on a
no,
podcast? You're gonna then
I know.
get 3,000
I'm
requests.
okay. I know. Unfortunately, there's limited, and they few
Maybe
and
you'll
far.
say there's gonna be lucky winners or something that
Lucky
from the
winners
comments you're going to choose your
or something like
favorite.
that. Maybe I think that's actually a good idea. So yeah, but yeah, if these are things that you're interested in, you know, testing out, we want to give you the systems for free. We can even install them for you. All we want, use it, you give us feedback.
Another thing you could do when you do the donations, though, just make sure anyone who wants to apply or agrees that you're going to shoot content.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus because there's a concept I got introduced to, like storytelling. You know, you're not just developing a product, but you need to
You need the stories, you need the
integrate.
social proof.
Exactly. Yes. Like, is it actually doing what we're saying it does? Are people's lives essentially being improved, you know, because they using these systems? Have they really saved on buying gas or are they still buying gas? You know, those are things that we want to integrate into the company profile also.
Whatever you put in your system, because gas has the potential of it's gas, it's
Yeah,
energy, it
it
can
is
blow up.
good. Yeah.
What safety protocols do you guys have that will
So
give me peace of mind?
so our systems are actually quite safer compared to, you know, like your LPG
The normal
containers. Yes.
containers we use.
Yes. The LPG containers are under a very high pressure. You see, if that system, you know, if
Uh,
something would happen, it's an automatic explosion like that.
yeah.
But our systems are very low pressure. You know, like should there be anything that happens, it won't be as severe. But we also have, you know, like a safety measure put in that it doesn't go past a certain pressure as the gas is building up, but at the same time, you know, like gas flowing back into, you know, once you flit a flame and the
Mhm.
flame flowing back into the system itself.
Mm.
Yeah, so we block that from happening. So those are more or less the measures we
That
implement.
sounds as a bit technical and
It is.
engineer.
Oh,
But I
so
think anyone who,
okay, can
those
grasp
who
something.
make sense of it will make sense of it. It- I just hear it's safer.
Yeah, no, it's safer than your typical RPG container.
All right. So, if you were reflecting on this as an entrepreneur and as a person, what do you see in yourself that says, I can pull this off? I'm the right man for this business.
Yeah. So I have an obsessive personality.
Okay.
So once I convince myself of something, it's like I just need to see it through. So I feel like I believe some people refer to it as grit, you know, where you more or less marry passion for something with perseverance. I mean, it takes time.
Mm,
But I guess for me,
you're that guy.
yes, exactly. So I have those capabilities, and I guess also the focus, the technical expertise, I think the willingness to learn, because I didn't know anything about business before starting this. All I knew was this was a problem I personally experienced. And when I thought about it, like, yo, how many other people are actually experiencing such problems? You think there's households that still don't have access to electricity, man,
Mm,
like something like that. And I was like, okay, with my need to wanna give a helping hand to communities. Maybe this might be my gift to them.
okay.
Mm.
I think I think your first answer when you started is
Oh,
making
more sense.
more and more sense.
Yeah.
All right, so I get you. I get you. I do believe in you actually, and
Why?
everyone. The
What if you may
team
ask?
believes in you. Look, I think the innovation, it's timely. It solves a real problem, and I see the potential for funding for it if there is the social proof, and I see a potential to connect you with some of my friends
Oh, please. I
at
love
the
connecting.
innovation with the innovation fund. So that's something that can come. I do come from a place where I see potential.
Yeah. No, no, that's good. That's
So
good.
you'll have to follow up with me to
With
say
you. Yes,
the people that you spoke about.
the innovation fund. I'll remember.
You're going to have to go and pitch. So
No,
yeah.
that's fine. That's fine.
All
I'll
right. So
definitely.
if I think the last question for me around how you use the money, you've received the funding. And one of the things that I've seen happen a lot is entrepreneurs do receive some of the funding and grants, but they don't use them effectively. How effectively have you used the money that you received?
Oh, that's an important question. I think let me just take us back a bit. So it's important to separate that the grant you're receiving is not yours. It's not your money, it's for the business. So separate your personal from the business. Because I know people have a tendency, yo, we received this much in the hundred thousands or something like that. Like, yo, let's do something. Like, no,
Mm.
separate that. This is strictly for business. So in our case, there's two aspects that we are looking at: the product development itself and also the business development, which was something we were lacking.
Mm.
So, as much as the grants we've received assisting us developing the product, but we also need to develop more or less the skills to then sell the product to the right people or
That
market.
is such a brilliant answer. I think I need to clip this
Oh,
part
to keep that
and send to every young
one.
entrepreneur
Yeah, no,
that is
it's
receiving funding out there.
yeah, no, it's very important. I feel like also something that's missing or people don't understand is, especially when it comes to trying to acquire grants, you also need to show that you've also sacrificed something as well.
Ah, how did
People,
you do that?
okay, so I was lucky enough. There was a guy, Timbeni Dumisa, who's also my co-founder, who believed in the idea when I pitched to him. So I was like, okay, I can't do this or fund it myself. Like, let's both contribute more or less to try and build this thing. So he just said, yeah, sure. Even then it was tight. I feel like when you tell people, because we've essentially more or less around 12,000, I'd say, that we've invested into developing our products.
Mm.
But when you speak to like founders or investors, it's like, yo, that's little. But man, like
It's a lot
what
to
I
you.
told you, exactly. It was a lot back then under those circumstances. Because you'd budget like, yo, we need this much. Okay, no, we need to save for about 3 months maybe,
Mm.
before we can actually afford like the resources we need to start building this thing. But what I like about that is that because we invested, we built something just from scratch, but then we took it to the right people and showed them that it works. So I think it's that opportunity meeting readiness.
I like your take on what you've done with the money. I like your take on skin in the game, how you've shown skin in the game, even with the little money that you started with, because yeah, it's little to the investors and to someone who might hear the money, but when you start to bring in the context of where I was coming from
Exactly.
how far I came, that was like the ultimate sacrifice. Have you come across instances where you doubt yourself or you doubt that this thing might work?
Yeah, I know, definitely. A lot. Like you don't know how many prototypes we've developed already. And every time, they essentially end in failure. But it's just important to remember why you started in the first place. Another second, like there's a lot, there's a lot of prototypes that failed. Yeah, but it's like sometimes even as we sort of fabricating these things, like this is not gonna work already. Even before it's finished, you scrap it. Like let's start over. So you see, like iterations like that. But I think with the grant funding, it helps you have that freedom.
I can fail a couple more times.
Yes, exactly. You can fail a couple of times, but just remember, the end goal.
How did you find these grants? For a young person who says, I want to be like you and I want to find this grant, how did you find
Find
them?
these grants.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like a lot of young people are sleeping on social media, eh? Like, w- it's as though once I had this idea, like I started searching a lot, like LinkedIn, Facebook, and also Instagram. And after a couple of months, it's like they just advertising grants everywhere, grants everywhere.
Also,
It's
because you
simply
were
like that.
searching, the algorithm knew now
Exactly.
this guy
Like this
loves
is
grants.
yes, exactly. And just like that, like they constantly advertising these grants. They constantly in your face. I know we say there's no money. There's
Yeah.
money, guys.
You're just
There's
searching
a
for the wrong thing in
you're
your
just searching
algorithm.
exactly. But I think it goes back to that obsessive personality I was telling you about. When I got
When you
into
went
that,
searching, you
yeah,
search hard.
yeah, I went in hard.
That's
I
good, man.
went in
That's good.
hard.
I'm certainly like one of those that are saying, I will be watching.
What?
I would love to invite you in a year or so you come and tell us how far you've come. Because I imagine we have good people. We don't have a lot of haters. Actually, I don't think we have haters in this platform.
Yeah.
I think people want to see you do well and people want to hear that success story in a year or so. Just come and say,
Mm.
guys, that million has hit the account. Or, guys, I intended to put this device in 1,000 homes
Yeah,
and
so I've
we
met the
successfully
target.
hit that target. That
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Yeah, no, that would be good. It places a lot of pressure on us to deliver, but yeah, we're hoping.
All right. So, what do you have to say to those that have funded you? You mentioned two, but I'm
Yeah.
giving you an opportunity.
To them, well, the SABF, I really like how they structured more or less. Like it's not just the grant itself, but there's the whole business development aspect to it. And there's a saying that they like that they don't just invest in the business or the idea, but they invest in the individual. So they also tailor programs to develop the individual
Uh,
himself, the entrepreneur. So I love that about them. Mm. So the SAB works together with Further,
mhm.
and we also have a grant from the Technology Innovation Agency. So they more or less
Mm.
helped start it out, and the SAB Foundation is helping us finish it.
Okay. How do people find you if they say, I want to be part of the pilot or I want to buy the system once you've launched? Are you
Oof.
going to create like a website for people to buy it? Are you going to distribute it through retail? What's the plan?
So we're still brainstorming actually around that because like people in the villages, they're not too big on social media, so we'd have to have a physical foot on the land,
Okay.
to more or less reach those. But all platforms eventually, but we're not there yet. But we are on LinkedIn. Again, if you just search Akea Eco, you'll find us there. So we started more or less with the storytelling component. We highlighting the problems that we're trying to address. How big is it? And who, or like these solutions we're building are for, essentially. So
Man, thank you.
create that context. No
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you. I really wish you well.
No, thank you,
He
thank you.
give us the link to the LinkedIn.
Yes.
People will follow you
Yeah.
and just give you some support, show you some love.
I know, by all means, by all means. And if there's any other potential fund, I also have.
In the description, hook up the
Yes,
brother.
exactly. Yes,
He's
yes,
aggressive.
yes.
He's going to apply. Thank you for hanging with us till this time, and thank you to the SAP Foundation for sponsoring this video. If you've got something to say, words of encouragement, tips, grants that you have to advise, pop them in the comments. He's going to be checking. But otherwise, see you in the next episode. Thank you.